back week for us. Another primetime game to show what it's about.
Here's Goff looking to his left. Touchdown! Josh Reynolds pushing all the right buttons tonight is Sean McVay.
In this tempo and this physicality right now, you have to give the edge to the Rams.
Tonight, we give you the defense. Pressure from Matt. That football came out. Back of the end zone, and it's intercepted. Worst possible scenario for the Bears.
Must be nice to be an LA sports fan. That's all I got to say. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into First Take. Molly Camrose here with my guy, Stephen A. Smith, Max Kellerman. Fellas, let's get right into it. A little Monday Night Football action. The Rams dominate on both sides of the ball, handing the Bears their second loss of the season in primetime last night. Nick Foles and the Bears failing to score an offensive touchdown, and he threw 2 picks. Max Kellerman, What's the biggest story? Oh, I'm hearing that we have Marcus Spears here with us. Swagoo, you made it? There he is. There's my guy.
What's up,
hey,
Ma? I'm in here.
All right, good to see you. Good to have you with us. We'll get to you in just a second. I'm going to start with Max here. Max, what's the bigger story, that the Rams won or that the Bears are struggling?
Look, the story is that the Rams won, but I'm more interested in the Bears' struggles because this looked like a team heading into this game I thought they could be Super Bowl contenders, but they were exposed against the Rams last night.
Right.
The issue starts on the offensive line. You could blame the coach, whatever, and Nagy did not have a good game. But the offensive line can't stop, especially a pass rush like the Rams, but they also can't block for the run. So you could see Nagy thinking, okay, it's not the most dynamic offensive team. Let's establish the run. And I get that, right? You have to kind of be dedicated to that or it'll never happen, even if you're not having success early. But they're not run blocking the offensive line. They're being dominated. Now, Foles was no good. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out. He was basically throwing up 50-50 balls down the field and hoping for the best. That's how the interceptions happened and all that. It doesn't help that what's his name, Johnny Hecker, the punter, was pinning them within their own 5-yard line. If you get the ball to start out on your own 5 every single possession, it's going to be very tough. But in addition to that, Foles doesn't have a pocket to step into. So he's not even stepping into these 50-50 ball type throws. He's throwing off his back foot. The offensive line is a mess. Obviously, the play calling was not good. Foles, I think, is still better than people perceive him to be. I think what I just mentioned has kind of conspired to make him look worse than he is. But the Bears were exposed last night. Without that offensive line, you forget the play calling and everything else. Without protecting the quarterback and blocking for the run, they will not be going anywhere in this year's playoffs. But I do think that their defense is good enough that they could make it to the playoffs.
Well, first of all, I wanted to congratulate you because I want to congratulate you for admitting that the story is not what you're interested in, because that's basically what you said. The Rams are the story, but I'm more interested in talking about the Bears.
Right.
So you're not interested in talking about the story. You're interested in talking about what you want to talk about.
For you,
I got it. I understand that, and I appreciate that.
Would you like to talk about the Rams?
I'm so touched. Thank you very, very much. Let me tell you something right now. The Los Angeles Rams are the story, and I'm going to tell you why the Los Angeles Rams are the story. Because for years we've been talking about Sean McVay, Max, and Jared Goff, or once upon a time, Todd Gurley, Cooper Kupp and the crew. Guess what we're talking about with the Rams now? We're talking about their defense. And it ain't just because of that monster that is Aaron Donald, who is the real, Lord have mercy. This brother is something special. But when you look at Leonard Floyd, and the rest of the crew there, how they got at the quarterback last night and how they play in defense. Do you realize that they are the top 2 defense in the National Football League? They're top 10 against the rush at number 7. They're top 10 against the rush at number 7. Top 6 against the pass, okay? Top 5 in yards allowed, top 6 in yards allowed, top 5 in rush. Across the board, whether it's against the run, it's against the pass, it's them getting at the passer, it's their play in the secondary.
Holding calls against the line because Aaron Donald's coming. There goes 10 yards.
Hold on. You bring up that one. How about this one, Max? What about how that cat put a move on Jalen Ramsey, and if it hadn't been overthrown by Nick Foles, it's a clear touchdown. But you couldn't. What happened? You had 3 offensive linemen for the Chicago Bears literally aim their sights on Aaron Donald, which which put you 3 against 2 against LA's defense. They set up there and rush foils. He has to get rid of the throw prematurely, and as a result, he missed it because he overthrew it.
This is the
kind of problem. This is the kind of problem that Aaron Donald causes. So I'm looking at Jared Goff, who's gotten better from last year. I'm looking at Sean McVay, who's modified some things, and after a great first year, slid a little bit last year, he comes back this year reminding folks what a great coach he is. And of course, they don't seem to miss Todd Gurley, because this kid Malcolm Brown averaging 5.7 yards a rush at least last night. This brother can play. And so I'm looking at it from that perspective. And then I'm seeing a team that was basically punked a week before by the San Francisco 49ers goes up against the Chicago Bears and said, excuse me, Khalil Mack and the crew, I'm sorry, they ain't the elite defense on the field tonight. It is us. I'm looking at it from that perspective, and I'm saying I cannot ignore what I'm seeing from the Los Angeles Rams right now. They're playing some good ball. We know they could put up points. But the fact that they can stop people makes them a team to watch in the NFC.
Man, y'all selling the hell out of this game. I want to go back to something. Max, did you say you thought Chicago was a Super Bowl team?
I thought they were a sleeper. Yup.
How?
He's in love with Nick Foles.
Listen, man.
Well, I'll tell you
He's in love with Nick
how.
Foles.
Because Chicago has a defense that as good as it is, I think there's more there. I think they haven't even performed up to their level. I think they can be an elite
Max.
defense. The kind that you remember. That's
okay,
one.
Just
and two,
stop.
Nick Foles behind a great defense
can
win a Super Bowl. We've seen it.
Just stop. Just cut it out, man. Look, the game last night was about Sean McVay, his creativity, and them running the ball down Chicago's throat. That's what the game was about last night from the Rams. We knew Aaron Donald and this defense would get pressure on Nick Foles because Chicago, quite frankly, with Matt Nagy, doesn't do anything creative offensively. He gets in this formation. He hikes the ball, and everybody knows what's coming. Just look at the game last night. Look at all of the shifts and all of the jet sweep motion that Sean McVay was doing, giving eye candy, bootlegging with Jared Goff, making sure that he was keeping this Chicago Bears defense on their heels. Now go to the opposite side. Look at Matt Nagy. It don't matter if Mitch Trubisky might have helped because he's athletic and he could have ran around, but he'd have still threw 2 or 3 interceptions. That's what this game boils down to. But let's stop falling into. I can't get off of. I thought they were a Super Bowl contender. Let's get off of fool's gold.
Do you remember? Do you remember the Bucs game? Do you remember the Bucs game when a favored Bucs team, which had
I remember the Bucs game when
Who won
Tampa
that game?
had 15 penalties.
Yeah.
I remember the Bucs offense having 15 penalties in the game.
Just like the Bears offensive line penalties that were costly last night, some of that has to do with the opposing defense, doesn't it? And Chicago, I hadn't thought even lived up to their defensive possibilities. But this is my point about the Bears.
Don't sell that to anybody.
That's right.
Don't sell that to anybody.
This is my point. You're right about Nagy.
Don't sell that to anybody.
Nagy versus McVay was a mismatch yesterday in terms of creativity. There's no doubt about it. The Chicago offensive line versus the Rams' entire defense was also a mismatch. That is also true. The reason to me the Bears are interesting is this is one of the original NFL franchises. This is a team like when you think about football, the Bears are one of the traditional football crazy town teams, right? At the height of Michael Jordan's popularity, it was the Bears on Saturday Night Live. And yet they've never really had a quarterback. And my entire life, even the year they won the Super Bowl, it's not like you had an all-pro type quarterback. And this year with this defense, and Foles, who is a guy who's won a Super Bowl and gone on a playoff run and had a year with 27 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. And coming off a Bucs win, there was reason to be excited in Chicago, and I believe that got exposed. But I do believe there was reason to be excited.
Okay.
I don't view it that way. I don't view it that way. I think about the 10 pressures on the part of Aaron Donald. I think about the fact that Jalen Ramsey, even though he got smoked on a couple of moves that were both overthrown by Nick Foles, he still ended up having an interception. I'm just looking at a Rams defense right now that from the line of scrimmage all the way to its secondary is more than solid, and that can't be ignored. We know, you got to remember, why does Sean McVay get the job? We know what a play caller extraordinaire he is. We know how he can really innovate an offense, and that's what we looked at. We looked at Jared Goff. We looked at Gurley in the past. We looked at Cooper Kupp. We looked at Robert Woods and the crew. But now what we're seeing is a defense that's saying, even if the offense gets shut down for a vast majority of the game, we can keep you within striking distance.
With elite playmakers at multiple defensive positions.
There you go. And so I can't ignore that, particularly in this year's NFC, because if we're talking about Russell Wilson,